I'm going to do a couple more examples. We have p squared minus 20p plus 36. Step 1 is isolate the c value, so p squared minus 20p plus blank equals negative 36. Take our b value, divide by 2 and square it. That's going to be negative 10 squared, which is 100. We'll add that 100 to both sides. So now we have our perfect square trinomial here, which factors into p. There's a minus sign here, so we get a minus sign here. Square root of this is 10. So negative 36 plus 100 equals 64. Square root both sides, so we get p minus 10 equals plus or minus 8. Now we need to add 8 to positive, or add 10. So positive 8 plus 10 is 18, and negative 8 plus 10 is 2. So our two solutions are 18 and 2. When we flip it over to the back, we'll begin having problems. So in this case, once you add 41 to both sides, and then you can divide everything by 2, it goes back to a similar problem that we've done. However, when we get to question 9, we're going to try that one. We add 2 to both sides. So we get 8n squared plus 16n plus blank equals negative 6. Now before I go further, I can see that everything is divisible by 2. So I want to divide both sides by 2. Remember, if we do something to both sides, it's legal. It's a legal move. So 8n squared divided by 2 is 4n squared. 16n divided by 2 is 8n. We haven't filled in the blank yet, so we're fine there. And negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Next step, this is the part where we have to take into account dividing by the lead coefficient. So we're going to divide everything by 4. So we have to pull the 4 out in front. So this is going to be n squared plus 2n plus some number. We go on to the next step, divide our b term by 2 and square it, so that's going to be a 1 squared, which is 1. And now is the interesting part. So when we have a plus 1 here, we don't just have a plus 1, we have a plus 1 times 4. So that means we get to add 4 to this side. So 4 times factored form would be n plus square root of 1 is 1. And that's a perfect square. Factored form. Negative 3 plus 4 is 1. Next step in solving this is dividing both sides by 4. So we end up with n plus 1 squared equals 1/4. Square rooting both sides. We get n plus 1 equals plus or minus. So remember the square root of 1, we can break this down. Square root of 1 is 1, square root of 4 is 2. So we have n plus 1 equals plus or minus 1/2. Now when we subtract the 1 from both sides, we get n equals, so we've got the positive 1/2 minus 1, which is negative 1/2, and then the negative 1/2 minus 1, which is negative 1 1/2, or negative 3/2. So